So now we're going to talk about CSS selectors. And we're working out of this course outline right here, TPE4K3, just like that. There's the link to it. And if you want to check out the code we're working from, it's GitHub. Goes to 11. That's my username at GitHub. And then go to my repos. And you're looking for the HTML CSS Bootcamp repo. Do me a favor and star this so it moves to the front of my GitHub stuff so I don't have to keep drilling down to it. And last thing I'll say is, no, I'll say two more things, is Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, just because the more people that follow me, the more I feel like I am doing good in the world. So it really helps my ego. It helps me. And I tweet a lot of interesting stuff. And I created this website, greatercommons.com. Make sure you check it out. It's awesome. All right, so that's the intro, preamble. We are rocking out to Black Eyed Peas. But now we're going to learn about CSS selectors. And so in CSS, and I'm going to bring up this thing from Shay Howe. Shay is my friend. Shout out to you, Shay, who wrote this amazing book. And so this is the only good book on HTML and CSS in the world. And you totally have to go watch this or read this Shay Howe book. But there's this great little diagram here of a CSS rule set. And it's right there. So with CSS, this is a rule set. And we have a selector or selectors at the beginning. And then we have a declaration block. A declaration block. We talk about blocks of code and programming. Generally speaking, those are between curly braces. And so everything between the curly braces is a declaration block. And then what does a declaration block hold? It holds declarations. Those declarations are made up of properties and values. So that's just terminology so that when you're in the world and you're working on web pages, you have the language with which to talk about stuff with other people. You can say, well, let's look at your rule sets on your style sheet. Well, look at the selectors there. You've got the wrong selectors. Or what are those declarations? Well, you got that property and that value. Those are the words we use to talk about it. So the selectors here, we're going to be looking at which other selectors we can use. And the other selectors that we could use an element selector. We've already seen that. Hey, select a div. And so here's what that looked like, and y'all already know this. I'm selecting a div, right? All divs on my page will have these declarations applied to them, these properties and these values. Get it? And that's an element selector. We could do a class selector. So let's see a class selector. So we'll just pound some of these out really quick. And I'll do a new little folder here. And we'll call it 008 CSS Selectors. And then inside there, do a directory, and we'll do 01. And we'll put in there index.html. And get some code in there and get rid of these extra metas. We don't need those. And then we'll also do a style sheet main, and then in that we'll link to our style sheet. And so now we're ready to go. And so here's my div, and I could do a selector there. Let me just bring this over, split vertically. There we go. So that's actually a good starting point for. We'll do this. So here's my element selector. Width 400 pixels, height 400 pixels, margin 0 auto, it's going to center it on the page, and border 5 pix, solid yellow of some sort. No, we'll do blue. I like that Dodger blue. And background color, we'll do yellow. So there's my rule set. There's my selector. Here's my declaration block. Here's a declaration. It's made up of properties and values. This is the value, properties and values. And now if I look at this page, that's it. Sweet. So let's continue playing with this. Let's see what that looks like with 2. Because I heard somebody in the audience say, what's that look like with 2? Get rid of that one. So now that one is element selector. Let's play with it. 02. The next one is going to be class. Don't stop, stop, stop. Don't stop the party. I need music backing me up. So with the class, I could do, instead of div, I could do boxes. Whatever class I want, okay? And this will be the same. There's just another way to select that same thing. So I'm going to, I guess that's fine for class boxes. And now with an ID, so that's being applied to class boxes. And I could give this an ID of add-on. I'm going to get rid of class boxes and just make this an element selector because simpler is better. I'm going to model that. What's that code going to do?
It's gonna be the background color of the page.
It's gonna be the background color of the second div.
We have one person say it's going to be the background color of the second div. We have one person say it's going to be the background color of the page. Anybody else?
It's gonna be the background of the specific div.
Specific div. We've got 2 votes on that one.
Oh, yeah.
Does this change your mind? We talked about the CSS specificity calculator. So we have a class or an element. An element is 1, and an ID is 100. So ID's got a hugely higher rank, so that's good, right? Well, z-index is rank, so higher rank I think wins the z-index. So in that sense, yes. Yeah, so this one should have a green background. Cool. What will happen? Can I do this? Is this good code? Why is my editor telling me an error? Yeah, you can only have 1 ID per page. It has to be unique, and you can only have 1. Okay? Otherwise, use a class. In class, you get a multiple. All right, so that's an ID selector. So we got element, class, ID, attribute, pseudo class. So attribute would be, what attributes do we have? What's title do? Cat, dog. So title gives us that tooltip, right? And now I could do an attribute selector. I don't think that's right. CSS selectors, selector reference, element, attribute, yeah, attribute. So attribute, oh, I need to do like this. What's this code going to do?
It's only gonna do cat now.
Okay, let's see. Cool. Did I switch that? I'm still an ID selector. I need a O4 attribute. And I don't need selector because this is all the selector folder. And I need to close all these. And this one has to go back to ID. Because this was the ID example. Okay, that just puts us back, keeping our code in order. It's kind of cool, right? So let's do, see what else we have. So class ID, there's the star selector. What the heck? Why did it do all that? Go for it. Why did it do all that?
That star is the all attributes, so it selects everything.
Selected everything. HTML, body, right? And so I like star better for something like this. And it's best not to use it in production, so it's sad because it's bad for performance. And then this will allow me to highlight all the elements on the page. And I can see where they are. So that outer red is the HTML element. This one is the border, the body. And then these got overridden by the blue. So if I wanted to, I could add important, which means override everything. Maybe it needs to be over here. There we go. And now I have a red border around all the elements on my page. And then important overrode this. You do not want a single important in your production code. It's a sign of bad coding. Okay? You should always try to get things to work with your normal CSS specificity. But it's good to know about. And this is good for debugging. Hey, show me where all my boxes are on my page, what's inside what.
So it can kind of help you figure out where bad code is.
Yeah, it helps you see what's going on your page. So important is fine for debugging. So we looked at element. Now we have element, comma, element. Selects all div elements and all p elements. So this is multiple. Don't stop, stop, stop the party. I have no idea what this is going to look like. So here are those two paragraphs, just like divs. And then inside one, we have the other. Let's take the nested out here in a second. I think it's better, but before I do that, And I just want to see what they call this before I do it. Boom. I'm going to call it nested. And I'm going to take out these guys for that example. So this example will just be like that. That's those 6. Okay? Here's those 7. What is going to happen when I do this? I took out a single comma. I'm calling this a nested selector. What's that saying?
It's within another selector.
Give me, you read them from right to left. Give me every P that's inside a div. So that will give me this one and that one. See, there's multiple arrays. Why can't I get multiple arrays just with my normal thing? Well, give me those 2. Because I'm in beta on the GOG land, that's why. Anybody want to bet? Didn't give me those paragraphs.
Oh.
All right? Only paragraphs that are inside divs. How about this? Figure out this one, and then figure out that one. It's just multiple selectors. So that would have given me all the paragraphs. Same as just a P. So that's element, element. And then here we have greater than, plus, and tilde. So for these examples, these are best just to see what I've already pre-coded because they take a little bit dealing with, a little thinking. But there's an introduction to selectors. And you guys need to get your hands on some code. So why don't you create this example right here. That code right there, and only select these P's. Okay, so write the CSS to only select those P's, not the other P's, using nested selector syntax. Those are my words.